All right, recording in progress. Okay, so we are now jumping right into the member portal, and I'm going to just start going over that. That's for the audience, Newman, not for you. I know you know that.
Hello, audience. Okay.
That's for this live. Today we're having this meeting in front of a live studio audience.
Yes.
All right, that's maybe not true. All right, so yeah, so let me go over it. Love what you did. All right, so first thing. It took me, just the one thing about these icons, I'm not sure, for me, it took me a long time to understand what they were. I was perceiving them as two things. The first thing is I was perceiving them as crosses.
Yeah, they look like crosses. I don't understand.
They look like crosses. So I'm like, oh, okay, they're crosses, which then starts to have a little bit of a, religious feel to it that might not be what we're going for. And then the second thing I perceived them as, I guess this goes with the cross, was like, oh, well, maybe it's like a casket.
God.
And then only until I really sort of got the bigger one and zoomed in did I see, oh, it's like a lever, it's like a up and down lever. So my thought is to maybe change those because I don't know that when we want people to get to that base organizational info, that they're thinking that we're presenting it as a cross or a casket. So
yeah, that's definitely not what we want.
Yeah. Okay. Other than that, yeah, I was delighted to go through it. I mean, I like what you did. Sometimes I don't know, I forget about the toggle things, or I don't, but it's a really nice kind of clean way to, for somebody to come in here, and not feel like they're, because there could be a bunch of information, but not feel like they're bombarded. So yeah,
that's the idea there.
I do like that, because that's something, I'm really kind of trying to be, aware of. And I know in the quick start guide, I'm actually trying to think of how to, I don't know, make it a little bit less minimum, or a little bit more minimal. But anyways, so I like what you put. I mean, I think that what you're doing is great, and I know that not all of this is filled out yet, but the stuff that you're putting in, and the way that you're sort of organizing it, these are this is good. It's like the base kind of information, right? And that people can go and they can dig into, and they can dig into, as they want. I think that you wrote some good stuff. So anyways, I think that my input is just that I really like it, and I like the direction that it's heading. And it's also sort of delineating for me. This is getting probably into Detaxis, into that idea, but it's delineating a little bit to me of okay, what is the organizational info hub? If that's the name we want to stick with. It's what is that compared to the quick start guide, right? Like we were talking about today, and this seems really I actually, and what it did is it sort of gave to me that I think that there might want to be a third of these kind of base information pieces here. It could be an organizational info, but I think it's really, it feels really important, so it might want to be more front and center. But it's basically just the write-up of the base write-up of holistic systems now, and the needs and off, right? Because mostly now what we're doing as far as the actual doing is centering on this value sharing, value exchange, and that is, that's the thing that's kind of currently bringing everybody together. And then as people come together and do that, right, that's when we're building, that's how everything else gets built up, all the stuff that we're talking about, the big picture thing, but
Yeah.
people, right? It's like people love the idea, but people need a reason to come. And before we were saying like, oh, here's this particular reason to come to like be here as a, rather than, other groups that might be trying to do the same thing, or other than the big picture thing.
Yep.
And then, like, it's like, it's the both, right? It's like, oh, okay, we're here for this. This is where I get my present time value, where I need help, right? Just being in this world and earning money and surviving and, up leveling. And then at the same time, we're doing all the awesome collaboration, creation, systems change building. So all of that is just to say, I'm wondering if, and of course, HSC brand guide could probably go under in the organizational hub. Actually, I think you already put it in there.
Maybe
let me see what happens.
It probably should go into communications, right?
I think so. Yeah, here, let me see if I can. Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, you can just like, using the sidebar is good. So organizational info hub. All right, so you go communications. Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's right there.
How do we communicate? I thought you put in a brand guide in one of the places.
Maybe I did.
Or maybe it was still in here. Admin. Maybe I'm just imagining. Oh, FAQ, I think.
Oh, it could be there. Yeah. All those.
Oh, right. I like some of this stuff. Yeah, this was what I forgot about that. Yeah, this was cool. This was good.
Nice.
Yeah. Is there leadership? Yeah, I mean, these are good questions, right? And this can, this is all evolving, right? Because right now, like, this is true. And then who knows, maybe in 2 months we're saying, oh, okay, well, you have to do A, B, and C, and you have to pay $10 a month or whatever.
Right.
Anyways, so, but coming back to like my main point, so this is kind of like what I'm thinking and then asking is like to have a third thing that's basically like, I think I wrote it. Oh yeah, here, like, basically just like, value exchange or resource sharing, whatever we want to call it, like about our value sharing or how value sharing works or about, whatever. And I think that really is just about like, it's probably less about like the, hey, this is how to do it, like go to the needs and offerings section, press this, enter your thing, but more like in your dia taxes, it's more like reference or explanation. It's more like why, like, what's the deal? What's the deal with it? So, that was my thought as far as continuing along, so that my thought is like that's a separate page that's up in these main headers. Other than that, continuing along with like, I think what you're doing here is great, with the exception of the crosses.
Let's change those icons. Let's do that, right? Well, we can do that. I can do that real quick. Like change those icons. They were just the default icons. And then it may be that we want, because it would be cool to have it sort of flow. Like I like documentation that has like a next button. So you can just like, oh, this is all the communications, and you hit the next button and then just kind of flows.
Yeah.
And here's one thing about the toggle or the frequently asked questions. When I engage with these things, it's basically about asking questions. So I think that first iteration is in a question answer format. And then once those questions and answers are done, then we can sort of run it through the style guide and get more, we can change it into a sort of paragraph format. And it's just like, it doesn't have to stay at question and answer. It could stay that way. But I think that, you see what I'm saying? It's just like this grabs the content. and gets it.
So that's the right. That's the initial prompt.
Yeah.
Which is that's beautiful, right? See, and that's some of the that's some of what you bring, with your background, and your skill set. I like that. Starting with that, like that's the question is the initial prompt, rather than we have to like put in a bunch of information and then then it can change. That's great.
Yeah, and I like this. So where this information hub is really is sort of to serve our work using the diataxis model. Here, let me share my screen really quick.
Yeah.
And just so that I can get this on the I got it. You got to give me the power.
I gotta give you the power. Yeah. And have you seen the OS canvas, that framework?
I've OS canvas. I've got content OS. That's the social media thing, or
no? I'll show you. I mean, let's talk about diataxis first, but
yeah, cool. So here's the diataxis, and let me maybe I can make that happen. And zoom in. Okay, so this is zoom in. Let's do this. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of pull this down.
Yeah.
So here are the
yeah,
that's it. So where does the info hub sort of fall down in here? I think that it serves our work, or it's not very practical, or it's more theoretical, and it study or work. I kind of feel like it might be in this where my hand is. Like this is the info hub. Can I create a info hub?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know why I'm just attempting to do this. This is so the info hub is right here. These quick start guides
this is good. You should make one of this. You should make just like snap like a picture of the snapshot. I mean, maybe without the one without our basically what I'm saying is like you could this could be a good piece to add into the knowledge base.
Yeah, like this just
just kind of the idea, right? Yeah, you snapshot, you say, hey, this is right.
Yeah, because would it be cool if people are creating their own, documentation as people go through it? I think that there's people that use the tool, are part of the community. They are the ones that experience the pain, and we all are builders. We all, are collaborative in nature, and that we can build. So it's just like, how does one give the right instruction or give the framework and the vision? I think that leadership in a decentralized way is not about command and control. It's about like laying the track for the water to flow down. It's about like creating the environment. And this, I think, can help. Like frameworks help because they can say, oh, you don't have to know everything that's in my mind. We can just sort of use a framework. And the framework is constantly changing. I went and looked at this diataxis, and they're updating all the time. The website's totally not like it was before. So he's it's an iterative model. So the guy
exactly. It's a framework and helps,
So there are practical steps. And so here's the question. It's like, what are the practical steps to being a member of HSC? And so if we bring that up, like that's in, in the quick start guide has got like, practical step, filling out your member profile, practical step, looking, go on an HSC quest. So all these are practical steps. But then there's also theoretical knowledge that help. And so we can say work and study here could be like be a member would be like to work, and study would be to do membership activities, that's the work, and to be a member, that's the study. I just came up with that on the fly. So but that's sort of the thing. Like there's theoretical knowledge, which is explanation, and theoretical knowledge would be like, okay, what is cooperation in this sense? Like what is a skill share in the sense of people having knowledge and skills, and that they come together and do that's an explanation of skill share. But then there's also a practical step to conducting a skill share, or being or doing skill share activities, and that can go in the appropriate spot.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, this is a really helpful, I think it's a really helpful framework that you're bringing in for exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
And there's also a way where we're just going, like, where the info hub, there's this way where I wanted to like put it, like move it, the little thing like right in the middle, like, because to me, it actually feels like a both. It feels like a reference and an explanation.
So yes,
so just to say that, like that one in particular, feels like like it's both of. I wouldn't say it. I mean, it feels like it feels theoretical. I think. Well, there's some practical steps in it. Yeah.
I like what you're saying, because the hub would mean that it's just like, this is the spot to go to get links to explanations, which is like a podcast. It's just like our, like explanations. It's just like, this is the podcast of our big talks, Most of it is in understanding our vision, understanding like this landscape of a new work style. The tutorials we have, which is it serves our studies, so it's more for like our own edification. It's like you can kind of be more deep and like explanatory in a tutorial versus a how-to guide. It's like it doesn't really care if you know it. It's just to get your work done. It doesn't care about studying and your knowledge. Your skill, and like, oh, can you log on to Discord and post a link, or can you format in the correct according to the brand style. It's really those are the how-tos. And then reference is like maybe the member portal itself. Like this would be like this member directory would be reference, because it's not teaching you anything. Oh God. Okay. Member directory.
Yeah, for sure. But I also like it as, right, some things are very clear. It's like this goes in here, but I do like something like the info hub, which is pretty broad. But I like that this framework, it's like it's not necessarily only, it's like a spectrum. It's not either this or that. Some things it's not binary, it's like there's some things that could exist in a spectrum across what, all four of the axes.
Yeah. I somehow got this on top. I don't know how to put it back. But anyway, you get the idea.
And I get the idea.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to do it. It's just like and then we can say, oh, we need more tutorials, or we need more explanation. Like we should cover these things in our documentation, and so that our community can work together well. And this is our documentation. And I think that's, you know, and then it's really about sort of like just chunking in the frameworks. I for whatever reason, I like this minimum viable community framework.
Yeah.
It's just like, and I've been looking at other frameworks. For instance, this Catalyst GPS. I'm going to bring this up really quick. This is a mirror board of basically DAO like community frameworks. And so Aragon is a DAO creation tool on Ethereum. And they came up with these categories of activities or tasks that DAOs do. So communication and coordination, membership tracking, and then we in the Cardano Catalyst, we sort of like, okay, we came up with our own sort of through a brainstorming, like community education. Like, where does community education? Well, communication and education, I think, go together. The same with membership, right? So it's just about like figuring out what we do and then having some, you know, index for it so that other people as they come in can see it and follow along with it. And it's easy for us to manage. So, you know, and my intention is to sort of bring these categories, membership, calendar, communications, purpose, and administration. Like bringing these categories into, you know, because there's just so that it's really as bare bones as possible, so that then you can iterate and grow into like one of these things, as opposed to getting a big giant thing that doesn't fit, and you're like, oh well, we need to have a community, you know, constitution. So it's like, well, maybe it just needs to be 2 lines. It's, you know, it's just, this is just the
yeah. I think it's great. I think it's really great, and I think it's exactly where we've sort of been, you know, kind of needing to head, you know, out of real life necessity, you know, because let me show you this. This is because, you know, like the OS canvas. I'm going to share my screen.
Yep.
Because I'm just trying to get everything in. Let me see. So it was, I think, let's see, OS canvas, the ready, but there's I think this one, there's this organization called the Ready that has, and so like this is something that Seeds uses and Haifa uses. And so there's a Haifa like version of this. So it's like, you know, it's the organizational operating system canvas. So I'll share this with you. I'm sure you'd like it. You know, and it's got like 12 different sections, you know, and it's kind of like what you're, you know, it's the same kind of thing you're doing, right? So this is how they organize it. You should definitely read this article. I mean, it's great. So it's like, and the idea, you know, like with Haifa, and I did a lot of this. Actually, it's probably still, maybe it's in my private area now, but you know, I started filling this out because they're like, hey, you know, if you want to be a DAO, this is like a really good thing to do. You want to like fill out all these things, and I started to do that, and blah blah, you know, which is great, right? It's a great exercise, and as we're seeing now, it's like it's not like minimum viable. It's like, oh, you know, like fill out this whole thing, right? And so you know, now we're seeing like how much all right, here, let me share this with you.
I got it. No need to share.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool. You're on
this is awesome. This is really, really awesome.
It is awesome. Here's what I'll do. I'm going to share the Haifa version with you.
Okay.
Haifa, let me see. Informational doc.
And so these are just while you're getting that. let me just sort of this. These frameworks or like scaffolds to help us get to the, you know, like into a, you know, an organizing sort of thing. And as we go through these different frameworks, like I'm not a framework maximalist. You know what I'm saying? I like go and do all these things. And then what you get, like what you resonate with, will be, you know, you maybe use some parts of this and parts of that. And it'll help to sort of make a holistic so that you don't forget anything. For instance, I was in a community and they forgot the calendar. The calendar was totally lost. They had no calendar, you know, so we couldn't really, like, it was always like trying to figure out where the calendar was. I love that one of the very first things in the new member portal is the calendars right there, bang, you know? I really, for me, the minimum viable thing is a member list and a calendar. Like, you don't necessarily need organization. You don't necessarily need documentation.
Right.
You just need membership and a calendar. Like that's the OG thing. It's just like who, you know, we who are here and when, you know, like the who and who, when, where, you know, and then why can come along. I mean, I do think that I think that your organizations will have short legs if they don't like touch on all these things, but they can get off the ground with very, very minimal stuff. Okay, what do we got here? Oh yeah, sure, that one.
Yeah, I put it, this was, right, so you probably, this was what I had up for a while. These are pages that I had up for a while. I can share all of them with you if you like, but you know, this was like on Notion, you know, the informational pages that I took off because they're, you know, like this needs to be updated a little bit or just check through before we put them here. Here, why don't I just share this whole thing with you? It's not like it's
okay.
It's in my private area now. I just don't want to like confuse things, just like we're talking about. Start things at the core again, like lean.
Yeah, and then that's definitely a big, you know, like I think that's one of the nice things about a model, because basically you can say, do we need more explanation, you know, and is the explanation, and then, you know, it's sort of like you know, chipping away at stuff, you know, like just what's necessary. Like if you go on a vacation and you've got like 100 pictures of the same thing and you're like, it's all good, you just need, you know, a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
So you've gone through this quite a bit.
I went through this process, yeah, a bunch. And so I started it, you know, and I got down sort of to the end here, right? Like we have a lot of ideas around these things, right? So I wrote out purpose and vision a pretty good amount, governance. A lot of this also, you know, is specifically using the DAO, you know, using the DAO tools, right? Structure, right? I have a lot of thoughts about structure. You know, we talked about those, strategy, right? And then I got here and I didn't really, let me see. Oh, that's a nice thing. Yeah, and so, you know, I only got so far, but it's a good reference. So I just wanted to kind of, you know, show you that.
Good. Okay, well, good. I can definitely go through that because of, I mean, this is just right up my line of things. Creating these DAOs, and I do have to sort of get going. I want to, on the recording, like I'm sort of because you've done this so long, and we're coming up on when we met last, I think it was like October, November when we started the course. And like, shoot, you know, you just have been there doing this work to create these systems that will, you know, organize human effort, you know, in the future based in this sort of technological place, you know, with a heart-centered thing. Like it's a unique and valuable thing that you're doing. There's just a ton of work that you've been putting in, and I'm glad that we are working together and that we've got like, I feel really good about these things that I've been working on. The minimum viable community that you know, can be a framework that is adjacent to the the DAO, the content, no, Canvas, the operating system Canvas from,
Oh yeah.
Like I think that I want it to fit into all these things, and go through the organizational design process. I guess that's what it's about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And help others to do it. And I see you've been doing it, and thank you for letting me come in and work with you like this. Yeah, I just feel really great because it fits in with all of the other work that I'm doing. And in the future, I really want to do this for specifically learning communities, like for a group of learners. HSC has a entrepreneurial building sort of mindset, but there is a learning component, and that's kind of where I'm sort of settling into. And all that is to say is that, because I've got these funded projects, I'm like psyching myself up. If I get funded, then I'll be back in education space.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, thank you. Yeah, thanks for all of that. I mean, I continue to be inspired to try and, foster this. And yeah, and I appreciate your, like being here and continuing to move it forward. And I think that I actually think we're close. I mean, I've kept writing the Monday emails, but I haven't really been kind of bothering, people so much because I just want to like get this like minimum. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to say. Like, yeah, like I really appreciate what you're saying. And I like that you're sort of saying like, how can we take this complexity that's possible and start it from a fairly simple base that can then, grow from there rather than like plan out the whole thing and then, like it did, and then just discover, in real life work.
That rolls right back to our beginning discussions of like, what is the good planning? Like, you can definitely over plan. We want to just get prepared. We want to get prepared.
Yeah, for sure. So to leave with then today, well, of course, speaking of planning, as I do, what's the plan? What are our action steps? I mean, I actually think I think we're like really close here. I think, in a way where I don't even know that I have to exactly check the list, to see what I think need to stay. Hey, folks, like start coming in. I mean, I need this form. I need the freaking form to work. And as soon as, Make gets back to me, then I definitely think that's, will happen. And then I need, and then I think that there needs to be this extra page, this kind of write up on like the value exchange, which is more like the explanation of it, rather than like, the how-to, in the portal. And then I think that, we need like just whatever else kind of that you feel like, oh, this is like a kind of the minimum that we want in the organizational hub. And then tell me what you think after that. Is there really anything else that's...
Well, I think what I would like to do is work with the documentation. So I want to work with the documentation. I created sort of the framework in the information organizational hub, but now I want to, now that we've talked through the diataxis, I'm seeing it in a different way. I want to look at each one of those quadrants and see what needs to, like, what could fill those out so that we have like a balanced sort of thing.
Yeah.
If you scroll down, you'll see there's a to-do list of the instructions on how to use this thing. So there may be some instructions on how to use. Actually, here you go. Wouldn't it be fun to do some user testing?
Yeah. If you need, I have to go to the bathroom like really bad, I could be quick. But if you want to hang out on for, you know, and finish up in the next, you know, 3 or 4 minutes,
no, go to the bathroom. Go to the bathroom.
But I gotta, I'm gonna start.
Go to the bathroom. I'll keep talking.
I'll be right back, or else I'll start losing my mind.
No, I like that. I love that that's on the video recording too. Because and that could be, I mean, that honestly, and I'm speaking to you now, audience and empty chair, Rob, that could be, you know, user testing and listening to the audience, the members, the users, and then just, you know, and paving the cow paths. Like, listen to them as they use it, and what are their, you know, when they ask, like, what is this thing and how to use it, you can just say, okay, how are you going to use it? And then you follow them to see where the pain points are. And then we take that and sort of make some adjustments, make some documents using the diataxis. Oh, do they need to be, does it need to be explained more? Do they just need something to get their work done? Like, do they even know what the work is? So, you know, I just now, with a framework, I can see like what to look for when users use it. I would love to just ask, you know, and that can be a real contribution. Like, so in the contribution thing, it's just like, oh yeah, here's, and I think it might even be in there in our contribution tab. If you scroll up and go to contribution or value exchange, yeah. Like, isn't user testing?
Oh yeah, user testing.
Yeah. So
yeah, you've got one.
Yeah, so maybe we can just say, hey, look, let's do another user testing. We could even put it out into Discord and just say, hey, I'd like to have somebody come and user test with me for an hour. You know, put it on the calendar, and then just show up, and then they can, and you can earn value, you know, and it's just like, we just make up value, but it's, you know, it's something that people want to work and contribute. And then this might help, like, you know, do the skill sharing, because I do have some skill in conducting user testing. Like, oh, maybe they're into it. Yeah. So there
Absolutely.
you go.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that would be great. So I think, you know, so here's my question for you, first of all. Like, are you okay? Because I feel like you are like taking the lead on you know, the organizational info hub, on all, you know, like what we've been talking about as far as like, you know, creating the framework. Obviously I have a lot of, you know, information. So are you okay if I just, as we go along, if I just sort of go through here and then just start like writing stuff?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. It's all, yeah, of course.
Yeah, because you're sort of creating the framework. You make it easy for me. So then it's like, oh, okay, well, then I can write, you know, and you like you're doing, like, you should continue to write stuff in. I can write stuff in, but then that's a really great kind of, at least at this point, that's a great decentralized way to just, you know, get this stuff filled out.
Absolutely. And I really think that everyone should do it. You know, everyone should ask questions, and everyone should answer questions. It's one of the reasons why that format works. And then you call it, and you kind of like, oh, okay, these are the questions, and then these are the consensus of like what people are doing.
Yeah.
Right, so please do.
Yeah. All right. So I will definitely do that. I'll just keep this as like, you know, adding this, that final page in here, you know, about value exchange, or whatever I call it. So I'll do that, and I can kind of start to fill out that and do some writing on that. And you know, and then you know, like I think at this point, like you and I, like you can come in and write stuff on whatever page. I'll write stuff on whatever page. I don't know that we need, like, with two people, I don't know we need exactly like permission to just start, you know, filling stuff out. And then it sounds like we're both kind of doing some work on the like to-dos, you know, as far as the to-do guides, or the how-to guides.
How-to guides, yeah.
Yeah, which, you know, there can be, we'll see how that all needs to get organized. I like the idea of a quick start guide. I mean, there could be a different how-to guide, but I don't know. I like the idea of at least having a quick start guide, because sometimes, when people, get somewhere, it's like, it's always, it's like, well, you look at all this and it's like, where do I start? So if you just direct them somewhere and say, hey, like, this is the place. If you need to choose, then go here. And but I think that we can both fill out stuff on there or just choose.
Yeah, it's where do I start? And I want to know about this. And then what is that? And then the other one is I want to do this.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
where do I go?
I want to know. This is like, I want to know all about this,
Yeah.
And then the one I'm
That's
making
like, where
is
do I
more like, why,
yeah.
Okay, why did I come here in the first place? Or what, like, what's the base of it,
Nice.
of the action, but like, and then this is like how to take that action.
Yep, I love it. All right, my man. Good times. You're the best. I'll see you. I'll see you. Yeah, let's connect. Connect over the week. Wednesday, Thursday is kind of, Wednesday's busy, but Thursday and Friday I'll be around, and I'll be on the Discord.
All right. Yeah, that sounds good.
Take it easy.
I'll do what I can here. I know I'm finishing up a couple jobs this week, and I like the momentum, and I really do want to get this to this place, which I think we can do really soon, where we can just be like, hey, all right, come test it out, or come jump in.
Yep, come test it out. Yep, exactly. All right, man.
All right, man.
Ciao.
Thanks so much. Bye. Pause the recording.